Joins us on the line to tell us more. Vuyo, a very good morning to you. And can you tell us what is happening right now?
Well, thanks very much, Elvis. Yes, indeed, delegates have started streaming in. They are just singing and dancing into the venue as we speak. The Congress is expected to start at 11, and from this conversation I had earlier with Cosatu President Stu Modlamini, they do plan to start on time. But of course, as you will have seen earlier in that soundbite, Elvis, there is increased security, a lot more police and security than has been the case at previous conferences of Cosatu. I asked Cosatu's president, Stu Modlamini, why that was so. Says it's purely for the safety of the workers who are gathered here. But he did also add that police will not be allowed on the floor where delegates will be speaking, because they wouldn't want to be seen to be intimidating delegates who may raise issues that perhaps the leadership of Cosatu may not necessarily be comfortable with. Whether indeed, of course, that is what is going to happen, we will see if that is what will pertain. Elvis?
Now, NUMSA has raised concern about the special security, and it says it will be militarized. But what are the other delegates saying about this strong security presence there?
Well, NUMSA had a problem with what they call the militarization of this Congress, but NUMSA and other like-minded unions also taking an issue with the acceptance, which they believe is unlawful, of the credentials of Limusa, which they see as a union that's set to replace them, saying Limusa did not even qualify in terms of the Cosatu Constitution to be here. I did ask Cosatu President Stu Modlamini about Limusa specifically, and whether it did indeed qualify, submitted all its credentials, and those credentials are in line with the Cosatu Constitution. He was adamant that they have met all the requirements for being accredited here. So we will see when that time of credentials come. We do know for a fact that some of the unions are prepared to stand up and actually question Limusa's admission. Again, that is what is going to be seen as a very point that can actually make or break or define this particular special Congress. And so will the continued leadership role of Cosatu's second deputy president, Zingiswa Losi, whom some unions believe that she shouldn't be here. Is that going to be an issue? Will that, together with the other issues I've spoken about, be the make or break point or for this special Congress? We will see soon after 11 o'clock when the Congress begins. For now, though, I want us to go to my colleague Yolisa Njamela, who is standing by just to talk more on the procedural issues and other things to expect later today. Yoli?
Thank you very much, Vuyo. Of course, one of the things that I can mention is that ANC chairperson Baleka Mbete will be giving a speech here this afternoon at 2 o'clock. That's what we understand. But the hall is filling up. Excitement is mounting here as delegates are filling up the hall. But that security issue that you mentioned earlier on, and the security detail that has packed up this Galaga estate, Vuyo, we're going to explore it further with one of the representatives of the other unions, the unions who have now been known, who are now becoming known as the rebel unions. FAO is one of those unions. Katisha Masimula is the General Secretary of FAO. Thank you so much for joining us. First, the national office bearers of Cosatu are telling us that they have it on good authority that you as FAO and the other rebel unions are going to disrupt this Congress.
Well, they can be rest assured we're not going to disrupt this Congress. We are the ones that petitioned the president of Cosatu to convene it. We even went to court to get a court order in order to have this Congress convened, so we're not going to disrupt it. However, we're going to engage in robust debates, because if people are going to deny us the right to be engaging, to be robust, we will not allow that.
One perhaps would be more interested in what robust means. As an example, the matter of expulsion of NUMSA and Zwelinzima Vavi is not part of the agenda, and the NOBs are clear. It will not be part of this agenda. And you have said to us a number of times that from the floor, some of the delegates will rise up and want to include that.
Well, a Congress will obviously has to be updated about the situation of NUMSA and of Vavi. But anyway, if you look at the discussion document produced by Cosatu, they themselves have already introduced the matter of Vavi and NUMSA, because close to 30% of that discussion document speaks about Vavi and NUMSA. So inevitably, this issue will feature in the Congress.
You have been boycotting the Central Executive Committee meetings for a while now, for a good couple of months. Don't you think those are missed opportunities? Because though the issue of Vavi and NUMSA, you could have perhaps included it when there were preparations running up to this Congress, instead of wanting to do it here.
Yeah, you see, there are two ways of convening a special national Congress. The first way is through a CEC. And in that case, the CEC will enjoy the right to prepare, to adopt the agenda and all other things. But the second way is through a petitioning by a third or more affiliates. And at that point, the agenda is determined by those affiliates. So the agenda is going to be determined by those who petition the president to convene. It cannot be the CEC. So we have never missed the opportunity, really.
The theme today and for tomorrow is building unity and cohesion of Cosatu. Many of your critics believe that that is not in your interest, to build cohesion and unity within Cosatu. In fact, you want to disrupt, because your ultimate plans is to have a new federation.
Well, the issue of a new federation has always been in the minds of people, but there's never been serious discussion about the new federation. Our clarion call has always been to recapture Cosatu from paralysis, to make sure Cosatu comes out of the museum and begins to implement the 2012 National Congress resolution. So that remains our first prize, and in fact the only prize, getting Cosatu back to militant and campaigning ways.
Mr. Masemula, the truth is you are in the minority in the CEC meetings, and clearly you will be in the minority here. So what are you hoping for? Or is it a matter of you want sympathy, you want workers to see you having done so much for them before you can step up?
No, actually, if anything, we believe that we enjoy widespread support amongst the ranks and file and the lower level structures of the unions on the other side of the divide. So yes, we are going to articulate eloquently issues of interest to the working class unity, and we hope we'll gain traction from the delegation of other unions, and in that way we are going to muster support.
Well, you know that Cosatu is split right in the middle, not only at CEC level, but with other unions as well. And if one looks at the list of the unions that, or rather the delegates that will be representing the affiliates here, you can see that on your side, which is what you've been called now rebel unions, on your side, the numbers are dwindling. There are very few of your representatives if you were to compare to that other side, which is why I'm putting to you again that this is just a formal exercise from your side.
No, it's not. It's interesting to know that, in fact, some of the unions on the other side cannot even agree about who must come to this Congress. And then unions on this side of the divide, we are all here, we are ready. So we think we are going to gain support from these other unions. But we don't intend to quit Cosatu. We can't build Cosatu and quit it. We can't hand it over to some people. We want it. It is our Cosatu.
After a two-day Special National Congress sitting, what would you like to see as an outcome out of this gathering?
You know, if there can be an agreement emerging from this Congress that a united Cosatu should have NUMSA in, that a united Cosatu should return Vavi into office, I believe we would have reached a very good agreement for this federation.
And having spoken to the current leadership of Cosatu, the national office bearers, specifically the President Dumo Dlamini, is very clear that issue will not be on the agenda. And your wishes clearly will not come true. What then?
Oh, well, we're going to debate in the Congress, and we just hope he'll allow the debates to flow, because the Constitution enjoins him to allow the debates to flow, to allow the delegates to raise issues. And look, if ultimately it means we must go for a vote, let it be.
And if that is not allowed, you'll remember this. There's a context to this that you and I know, and for the benefit of our viewers, we're trying to break this down. Now, at the CEC meetings, you broke away because it was clearly a matter of you believed there is no democracy. There's a faction that has decided that NUMSA and Vavi will be out no matter what. You decided to side with those, Vavi and NUMSA, because you felt the NOBs in the CEC is being unfair. And for the benefit of workers, nothing has been dealt with over these times, being e-tolls, youth wage subsidy, and a whole number of issues that are supposed to be dealing with workers. You, as well as FAU and the other side, you haven't done much when it comes to workers. And clearly, unity is not going to be an outcome of this conference. You and I know this because you know that leadership within the federation is way too fractured. So in all honesty, what happens should you be forced to get out? Do we then expect you to start a federation as soon as next week?
No, we will not start a federation. Remember, in 6 months' time, we have an opportunity in an ordinary Congress to can reverse the setbacks if we were to suffer setbacks here. But let me also indicate that the issue of voting, it's not something that we will call for immediately. We hope the president of Cosatu will genuinely allow discussions on matters of unity, including on NUMSA and Vavi, to at least flow, because if these discussions flow, the likelihood of reaching an agreement are there.
And tell us about the 500,000 rand and the 250,000 rand that you've allegedly kept aside to feed the delegates with alcohol and some drugs to ensure that they disrupt.
Oh, well, that's pure lies. And we will be calling on the president of Cosatu to provide evidence, because that's tantamount to an insult. That's not only an insult, it's character assassination. And as the leadership of FAU, we will be engaging the leadership of Cosatu and will demand a public apology from Cosatu. Yes, there is a budget that we were using to address provincial Shop Steward Council of the 9, flights for those that we have deployed, accommodation and so on. Also for legal matters like taking up the issue of Zingiswa Losi, because we don't believe she is the deputy president of Cosatu. But that it was going to be used to buy booze and drugs for our delegates or other delegates to disrupt this Congress, it's really an insult.
And when are you going back to the special, or rather to the Central Executive Committee meetings, as your constitution requires you to?
Now that this Congress that we've been waiting for is happening, after this Congress, the likelihood is that we will return back to Cosatu CEC.
Whether Vavi and NUMSA or either of them are back or not?
Yeah, because remember, we still have an opportunity 6 months later at an ordinary Congress.
We'll continue with these conversations. Katishi Masemula, thank you so much for joining us. Katishi Masemula is the FAU General Secretary, and as I've mentioned, we will continue these conversations throughout the Congress. It's supposed to officially start at 11. We do know that Thulas Nxesi of SACP will be delivering a speech as part of the Tripartite Alliance, and also the ANC's chairperson, Mamubale Kambete, will also be speaking here this afternoon. We'll take it to the studio for now.